All right. I think. How do we start this? What is an intro that we want to do?
I don't know. Do we want to just say hello, everybody? Okay, well, we don't want to say that. What we want to say is hello, everybody, and welcome to Rank Masters. I'm Seth, and this is.
This isn't gonna be our intro.
Yeah, it is. Why not? Okay, fine. Fine.
You messed. We can't have our very first intro be of you messing up and then correcting yourself.
Why not? The very first. This episode is going to be all about podcasts and podcast idea. Why not be transparent and show us just completely botching everything?
Yeah, okay. Welcome to Rank Masters. This is where we have a list and we rank it ourselves, I guess. We're new at this since we're being transparent.
I mean, if you want to restart, we can restart, but...
No, we're leaving it in.
We're leaving it in. Perfect. Well, hello.
Do it live.
Well, like I said, I'm Seth, or ODISeth, as you might know me. This is...
Trace.
Finally.
Just call me Trace.
Hi, Trace. Welcome.
Or Yenapooch on different platforms. But Trace.
Trace.
Just call me Trace.
Yeah, for this podcast, and only this podcast, you will be referred to as Trace. In no other aspect of the internet. Yeah,
I have like 20 other names otherwise. Trace is just the podcast name.
Yeah, the other one is
Raced.
No other reason. R-A-C-T.
I think... I don't think that's what you wanted to say.
Why not?
It's raced?
Yeah.
I think that has more connotations than you think it...
Who cares? Who cares?
Screw it, we're doing it live.
Screw it, we're doing it. Yeah, precisely. You know, that's the point of this. Anyway, as Trace was saying, we are the Rank Masters. The gimmick of this podcast is that we have a bunch of, like, ranked lists out there on the internet, and many of them have not been seen by you or by us, and we're going to change at least one of those things. Which one? I don't know. No.
We have found some very ridiculous lists from across the internet, and we are going to start one off that I think is the perfect way to start off a podcast just like this.
Yeah, it's a list of the top 10 best podcast ideas. This list is
go
ahead.
By the end of this, we're going to change the entire podcast idea. It'll be something completely different. That's the goal, right?
The goal?
Yeah, to have a completely new podcast by the end of this podcast.
Is it? I mean, possibly. You know what? Sure, yeah. Let's take one of the ideas on this top 10 list. And
is this not why this list was written, to give podcast ideas, right?
That is precisely what this was. It's by podcast.co, so clearly they are the main source of knowledge in regard to all podcast ideas. So what if they come up with a good idea? I think we should listen to them. I agree. We should just completely change Rank Masters. All this effort that I put into making the logo, fuck it.
The logo, the layout.
I'm pretty proud of the layout, I'm not gonna lie.
It's a pretty good layout.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we could possibly come up with a completely new podcast by the end of this if they're convincing enough. That's my goal.
If they're convincing enough.
I want to be completely told that my podcast idea was bad. And we needed a new one, and that's what I hope we find with this. That is what I want.
I mean, who doesn't like being told that the things they come up with and their creative ideas are horrendous and need to be changed?
Who doesn't love that?
Everyone loves that.
Best.
It's great.
It's perfect.
There is nothing better than criticism.
Well, let's get this. I think we should get it started. What's the very first podcast idea?
The very first podcast. So it's top 10, and it starts with 10. Obviously, the worst. The worst of this top 10 is food.
Okay, you can't call it. It's not the worst of the top 10. It is the top 10.
It is number 10. The best of the worst. Everything minus 10.
No, there's no worst in there. Why are you adding the worst?
Because it's the bottom of the list. It is inherently the worst on the. Anyway, it's food. So
wait a second. So if you had like 5 of the best athletes in the world,
yes,
number 5 is the worst.
Yes, of the best 5,
I think
it is the worst of the
disingenuous. Best. I think this is a completely disingenuous way to describe that. You can't say the 5th best athlete.
the 5th best athlete. You know what? It's an athlete who works out their ass. I get it.
Yeah, the fifth best athlete.
There we go. We got
in
it.
the world can't be described as the worst of anything. That's horrible. I mean, never mind. I've changed my own mind.
Really? You want to continue that thought, Trace?
Because
we're already on a side tangent. You know what? It's fine. Let's keep going.
I was like, you can't label them as the worst of anything. And I was like, well, I guess what if they're like the worst? I don't know, hedge trimmer or something.
That's true. I don't know very many Olympic runners who are also great hedge trimmers.
How many Olympic runners do you know? Is it a non-zero number?
No? Maybe. Possibly. I know runners, and some of them could be on the Olympic level, but I don't know if they actually are, because I'm not that invested in their lives.
Then I don't know if you really know them, Seth.
I know them more than I know the names of actual Olympians, if that makes sense. Like, I know them personally, and not of them, but it's like how I don't talk with a lot of my friends about YouTube stuff, you know? Some the friends that I consider closest to me, I'm willing to invite into my content sphere, but a lot of my friends don't know that I even do YouTube, which, you know?
I think that's weird.
I think it's
weird
too.
Be a little more open. I think you're being a little too secretive with people.
I mean,
okay,
fair.
we have not talked about food at all.
Yeah, we're at like the 3-minute mark. I love this.
So, like,
yes, food podcasts. That is their first idea on this list. It says that like food's constantly being talked about, discussed, reviewed, tested, tasted. There's a ton of food podcasts out there, like TikToks and all that jazz. What are your thoughts on a food podcast? Because I had some time to think about this, and I don't know how to feel about it.
So this is my problem with like food content, is it always makes me hungry.
True.
I'm a fat guy, right? So I like when I used to... Did you ever watch one Claire Chaffetz, I think is her last name?
The name doesn't sound familiar.
She used to be on a channel that we're not going to give any publicity to.
Oh, okay.
A lot of stuff came out. It was a food magazine that she was a cook for their YouTube channel. She had a fantastic series. She now has her another show over on a different channel called Dessert Person, which is also a fantastic series.
Okay.
I cannot watch it without being like, I want what they're making. Or when you like watch the Great British Bake Off, you're gonna get hungry, and that's the problem. But
it's true. It really is.
So if we did a food podcast, I would have to eat during it, and then I'd have to make mouth noises.
That's true. Yeah, you don't like mouth noises.
Which is like hell for me. Having to sit there listening to your mouth noises and my mouth noises coming back to me, I would die. That is not fun for me.
I mean, you don't have to hear yourself. What are the odds that you're going to listen to your own podcast after we release this? Like, are you going to listen to this episode after we release it?
Yeah.
I say that we probably are. I'm going to have to at least once to edit it all together, but then we're probably going to, because episode 1, we got to hear that. Okay. I understand my own, I understand your argument immediately.
Yeah, so I just made like a couple of podcasts. This is like my 8th podcast.
Yeah, obviously.
No, I made a couple of TikToks the other day, and I've watched those maybe like 25 times at this point after they've published, just because I want to make sure over and over and over again I didn't say something really stupid and incriminating.
Huh.
Especially since one is about like criminal justice and how, you know, the police are bad. So maybe
good things to make sure you're being correct in how you say that. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So I mean, with this podcast, I probably listen to it maybe once, just to make sure everything sounds fine.
That's fair.
I don't say something stupid like athlete to begin with. So
I mean, you did say it. What are you gonna do now? Or it's already been said.
I said we're doing it live.
Yeah.
There's no taking it back at this point.
It's impossible. This is.
I was gonna ask, what do you think about a food podcast?
I think food podcasts conceptually are fine. Like, I see nothing wrong with food content in general. I get the same argument where it makes me hungry. I really want the food, but I feel like if we were to make a food podcast, being hungry wouldn't be a problem because we are then eating the food, obviously. My biggest problem with food podcasts is that it's really like I think they're so boring. I think food YouTube videos are different. I think highly edited YouTube videos that show you the engaging parts of the food, they show you the making behind it and all that jazz. If you could see everything that goes into the food, that is a different experience than, say, like listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or something like that, which other various platforms that we're on, anywhere podcasts are found. Shh, don't tell anybody. But if you're just listening to someone talk about food, like it's weird and it gets boring. And I don't know how you make a ton of episodes about that. Like
there's a lot of food out there.
There is a lot of food out there. This is true.
We could probably make an entire season of podcasts just on the Dairy Queen menu alone. So
I don't want to. Of all the restaurants you could have picked, why? Okay, that actually checks.
That's why I chose Dairy Queen, because I like Dairy Queen. Okay, I love.
That's fair.
Specifically the chicken strip basket. That's it.
Ooh. Okay, we're not sponsored by Dairy Queen in any way, shape, or form, but they do have a good chicken strip basket. Though this is our first episode, there's no way, there's no universe where they would have reached out to us before we release our first episode.
I'm on the phone with Dairy Queen as we speak.
I could see you. You're not on any phones.
No.
This is a video podcast, damn it.
The chicken strip basket is fantastic, though. Okay, for not 3 seconds, for a little bit, we're going to pretend we're on a food podcast together, everyone.
We are on a food podcast. This is now a food podcast. Rank Masters is a food podcast. We've already determined this.
Yeah. So, what's the new name of our podcast?
No, we keep it Rank Masters.
Friends.
Ooh. Okay, Food and Friends. I like this.
Food and Friends. Hoot?
Who? I was gonna say who are the friends, but
who are the
we are the friends. Yeah, but that's fair. That's you know what?
I don't know. Maybe we have we
could be
the
the food
every episode. Okay.
Yeah, and what about it?
So, no, we're a food podcast now. We're gonna talk about the chicken strip basket from Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
What is the normal things that you get with the chicken strip basket? Because they allow you to get a dipping sauce. What are you going for?
I'm a ranch bitch. Anytime I get anything fried, I like it with ranch. I'm not big on other sauces. I'm not gonna lie.
That's fine. I mean, some of us are weird.
See, this is the real reason we can't do a food podcast. You just hate my food preferences, I guess.
No, I mean sometimes when you get, but if there is an option to get gravy, get gravy. Who are you?
Cream gravy, I can understand. I do like cream gravy with a lot of things.
That's what it comes with.
Yeah, exactly. But I still like ranch more. I think I prefer ranch in most situations. I think you get gravy far less often, so when it's available, it seems like the more appealing choice because it's so uncommon in terms of fast food in particular. But ranch is good.
I don't know. It depends on the place. You can get some really rank ranch from some places.
Yeah.
You got to be careful with that.
That's true. Chick-fil-A ranch is horrendous. Ooh.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, but are you getting an ice cream with your chicken strip basket? What else are you getting alongside it? What's your drink?
First of all, I only drink water. I don't drink other things.
We're at Dairy Queen. What are you getting? Water.
Ice cream. Yeah. Ice cream wise, at least, I'd ask if it's possible to upgrade the drink to Blizzard. And then they used to have a midnight truffle Blizzard, and I don't know if you ever had it. It was years ago. I had to at least be 8-9 years ago. This was something that was from my childhood, and I remember I was in middle school when they got rid of it from the menu, but it was so good. Oh, and I miss it so much. The midnight truffle. If anyone out there remembers the midnight truffle Blizzard, please tell me that I'm not alone in remembering this and not alone in being pissed that they got rid of it. Because I miss that. That was such a good flavor, and it's gone now. You can't get it. It sucks.
So I love peanut butter. Peanut butter is top tier for me. So if I get a Reese's cup Blizzard,
Reese's do go hard.
But unless it is Thanksgiving season, and then you have to get pumpkin pie Blizzard.
Yeah. it's such a unique flavor, but it's good.
Someone enlightened me a year, I think it was like a year ago, that I think it's Freddy's also has like a really good pumpkin pie ice cream.
Freddy's does have a really good. I used to work at Freddy's for a while. They have a solid pumpkin pie custard, but again, only during Thanksgiving season, which sucks.
When did you work at Freddy's?
It was about 6 months before. Like, it was when I was still in high school. So you wouldn't have known me when I was working at Freddy's. You've only ever known me through, I think, 3 of my jobs, which I'm not going to go over because A, I don't want to dox myself, and B, I don't want to endorse one of the jobs I worked at. Like, I don't like them. I don't like one of the companies I worked at, so I'm just refusing to say their name.
Okay. Since I'm now getting hungry again,
let's move away from food real quick.
Okay, out of 10, what would you give this podcast idea? Food and Friends. 1 out of 10. What's your ranking?
Food and Friends. I think let's go 3 out of 10 because again, I like food, but I feel like again that podcast would get pretty boring. I wouldn't listen to it. As evidenced by the fact that I don't listen to food podcasts already.
I'll be a little more generous. I'll give it a 4. Would I listen to it? No.
Exactly.
Would someone? Maybe, but I don't think it's terrible.
There's an audience for everything. I'm not in that audience, and I don't want to cater to an audience that I'm not in.
A noise just came out of my mouth. It was super gross. I told you I do not like mouth noises.
I'm very aware that you don't like mouth noises. We've had this discussion. All right.
Next,
before we spend 20 minutes on the first topic, let's move. So next on the list, their second podcast idea, the second
number 9.
Yeah, number 9. I was gonna say second worst, and I remembered you'd kill me if
I know.
That.
I was gonna go crazy. So here's your out. Number 9.
Number 9. They say questions and myth busting. The web is a golden opportunity for mythbusters, home to plenty of answers to your unanswered questions. And you guessed it, podcasts are no different. And it's basically just do Mythbusters, but audio only.
Mythbusters but audio only. That sucks.
Yeah,
Not gonna lie.
I really don't like that idea.
Podcast something.
COO. It's not even COM. It's CO, which is such a. You know what? Fair. I can't fault them for that.
This is a bad idea.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do a lot of research for the quality that you're probably not gonna get. This sounds like if you were going to do this podcast, you would need a team behind you.
Yes.
This isn't a startup podcast. This is you've made plenty of podcasts. You have about, 2 investors ready to give you another one. That's when you make this podcast. You cannot make this one right out of the gate. This one sounds horrible.
Yeah. If you have funding behind this, if you have just an immense amount of knowledge and money and already like people who are willing to do the research for you and write it up on a script and say, hey, here's the things here's all the myths and how to bust them. At that point, maybe I could get behind a podcast like that. I would listen to it if it's engaging enough. My question, however, because the one they linked, they linked to a specific example of the podcast. They have 2,000 episodes. And it looks like they upload daily. Like, they have uploads January 17th, 18th, 19th, 21st. They're probably uploading today on the 22nd. This is being recorded on 22nd, by the way.
Why did you date us so hard like that?
Who cares? Who cares? We could be uploading this 7 years in the future. People would still listen. Or not. Maybe no one's going to listen. Or not. But whether they listen or not, who cares, like, the time that we're recording this? I don't think that's going to influence their decision.
What are their podcast names? Like, what is the topic that they're giving here? This is like...
Here, let's pull up one episode. So one of their most recent episodes was Toast, as in brown bread. Toast is bread that has been browned by heat. It's delicious. This is our ode to toast.
And they
talk about that for 53 minutes.
Is toast a myth?
Apparently. I had toast for breakfast this morning, but apparently I didn't.
I was like, what have I been eating all of these years?
But yeah, so like one of their other episodes is called Selects, How Game Shows Work. It says join name and name and a whole bunch of great people at the Gothic Theater. Why did I say treasure? Gothic Theater for this live show. Oh, they do live shows? We don't have the budget for live shows, y'all. No. That I'd love to do a live show sometime, but
I'm hung up on toast.
This is why we can't be a food podcast. We've been over this.
Sorry, it's not because toast is delicious. It's because why is toast a myth?
Okay, so if I were to guess, having not listened to this toast episode, apparently, I'm willing to bet that it's just like a behind the scenes as to like the history of toast, because sliced bread is a fairly new invention, like within the grand scheme of modern inventions of the world. Actually, you know what? No, I'm looking this up. When was sliced bread? Talk while I look this up.
Okay, yeah, no, I thought you were going to say the time of modern medicine, and I was like, toast. The modern medicine.
It really is a medicine. I mean, it's a honey delivery system, and honey's basically a medicine. Yeah, sliced bread was 1928. It's recent. Yeah.
Bad year.
And I remember, wasn't it like banned for a short period of time due to the war?
Toast caused the Great Depression.
Oh no. Oh God.
That's the myth.
True. Actually, yeah, good myth. But I'm willing to bet it's just like talking about like the behind the scenes of the history of toast, or like the mechanics of a toaster or something like that. Like when you put something in a toaster, and you set the toaster timer to 5, does that mean 5 minutes?
No, that's how deeply you want the thing toasted.
Precisely. But a lot of people seem to think that the dial means like the amount of time that it's in it. And I'm willing to bet that is one of the things that they talk about, is that like the dial doesn't mean time or something like there's so many things you can talk about.
I guess when you go 2,000 episodes, you start to run out of ideas.
That's true. I should look at some of their older episodes, but the way Apple Podcasts works is it shows the newest episodes recently, and I'm not clicking through every...
Yeah, I don't think we need to go into that. I think we're fine here.
No, hold on.
1 out of 10.
I saw two episodes back to back that did catch my eye. One of them was the Star Wars Holiday Spectacular.
Okay, yeah.
Apparently talking about all the holiday specials in Star Wars. And immediately...
the specific one. The Star Wars Holiday Spectacular that was such a failure that they...
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Suppressed it for so many years.
The one that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
It's been wiped from every universe.
That's the one they probably talked... Anyway, go ahead.
But then the immediate follow-up episode is Juicy, the fried chicken story.
Juicy.
Which, you know what? I have no clue what the contents of their episodes are, but that is a beautiful title.
I love it.
I love that.
You know what? Just because of that title, I'm giving this concept, if you had the money, 7 out of 10.
It's a juicy out of 10, I agree.
Juicy out of 10.
However, if you don't have the money, if you're just two schmucks like us, horrible idea. It's good if you have knowledge. I have some
but
weird
first you have to have knowledge.
That's true. First you have to have knowledge. So I think for people like us, for just normal Joe Schmoes who don't have money or a research team or anything like that, 3 out of 10 as well. I like the 3s apparently.
3?
Yeah. This would be a bad idea for us. Like
They're giving us toast content.
They're giving us toast content.
3.
You are right. They did give us toast content. And I haven't listened to it, and I probably won't. I might go listen to the Juicy episode, though.
The one episode?
The one Juicy episode. All right. Should we move on to the next on the ranked list on this top 10 thing here real quick?
We've got to do a podcast pause.
Podcast pause? Oh, okay.
Pause.
Podcast
unpause.
Podcast. Oh, wait. We're back? Okay. Should we count down?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. We're back. I mean, we had some technical difficulties.
I'm assuming that's going to get edited somehow.
No, it's not going to get edited. We're going to leave it all in. You know, I'm kidding. I'm going to edit it. Who do you think I am?
I'm on my knees now. My seat is no longer existing.
Oh, what? Why are you on your knees? Go find an alternative.
No, I have no alternatives.
All right, fine. Well, sure. I was going to try and find a way to transition from that into the next topic on this list, but I can't think of a way to do it tastefully. You want to know what number 8 is on the best podcast ideas of all time?
Yes. What is it?
Feminism. It says it's not too late to educate yourself on feminism. And thankfully, it's one of the best podcast topics out there for spreading awareness and supporting gender equality. It gets our vote, that's for sure. That is the cheesiest sentence I've ever seen. It gets our vote, that's for sure.
Women.
Okay.
We like him enough.
I mean, honestly, though, feminism is a good topic for podcasts. Like, it is a great medium for getting a community of feminists together to discuss feminism, talk about, like, intricate aspects of it. But
I
the
think
sentence...
it's a great idea.
Yeah.
My one worry is the next thing it's going to have on the list is, like, social justice. And so they've ranked feminism lower than other types of social justice as ideas.
I looked ahead. No, that is not not on the list, thankfully.
Okay, I was so worried. I was like, you're going to put feminism here by itself on the list, and if you give me something else, I'm like, you've just opened yourself up to, like, a world of hurt of being like, yeah, feminism is good, but it's only number 7 or 8 or whatever we're on.
We're on 8 right now. Yeah, feminism, according to this list, clearly the worst type of social... No. I think they're smart enough to not do that. There are a lot of... that's true. They put food in the top 10. And look at us. We are hungry. Actually, you know what? The more we go through the list, the more I'm realizing food might not have been a bad idea. Like, I keep coming back to that one. But no, we're on the feminism one. Let's stay on topic this time around.
Feminism.
It's impossible to stay on topic. I can never do that.
It's impossible to stay on topic with feminism. It's just...
God, no.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But yeah, like, feminism... let's assume that by feminism they mean the entirety of social justice, or maybe just feminism. Who knows? They could.
Mean, there's a lot more socials in that justice than just feminism.
There are a lot more socials in that justice than just feminism. I can't believe I just said word for word what you said, but you know what? It's a good quote. Let's put that in the comment section.
One second, I can't get it out.
You sure you want to say that, buddy?
She social my justice until I feminism.
No. Why did I encourage you? Why was that what you were trying to say? Trace, what the fuck?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Shh. It had to happen. It had to happen.
It had happened. I get it. Oh, my God.
I realized I had phrased that in such a way that I was like, I can't not say it. Someone else will say it.
Yeah. You right. Someone else will say it. But oh, God. Okay.
Disclaimer.
Hi.
I actually, I have read and loved a lot of... This sounds so preachy.
Yes, it does. But continue. You started this.
Because I actually really enjoy the topic of feminism. It is something I really have dove deeply into on multiple occasions.
Yeah. And I think podcasts are genuinely a great way to get conversations about feminist literature out there and just talking about social justice in general. It a lot of people who care about wanting to be good people, who care about wanting to do the right thing, are not willing to read. Straight up.
It's true.
I hate reading. It's not true. I enjoy reading in some situations, but it is a slog to get through academic papers about feminism or social justice or anything like that. It's a slog to get through any major leftist manifesto, and I think podcasts are. Am I wrong? It's
no, you're not wrong. That's a perfect example. I mean, I listen to a lot of audiobooks.
Yeah, I think audiobooks and podcasts are a great way to spread those, just talk.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of potential there.
Now, big question. Do you think there's potential for us, two very, very white dudes who cannot stay on topic for more than 5 minutes to do a feminism podcast? Are we qualified to have these discussions, Trace?
Alone? Definitely not.
That's true. We could have solid guests that might help us out in some situations.
Maybe we become the feminism podcasters that this world needs.
We
just
could.
like every other mediocre white dude.
I mean, does the world really need another podcast? Any podcast of any conversation by two white dudes?
Well,
I mean, hey. We are the voice for the masses right here. We are going to say what the world needs to hear because we have completely unique perspectives as the most generic people you've ever seen in your life.
I'm going to say for anyone else, this topic has to be 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I like any type of social justice has such like breadth and like quality there that you can get some great episodes out of. For us two, 2 out of 10. I don't think we're the ones equipped to handle that conversation with all y'all.
I mean,
sorry.
No, it's you're true. You're 100% right. B, we have the knowledge. Like we know a fair amount, not only about feminism but of other forms of social justice. It's just we cannot stay on topic. And I'm a fool. I'm a giggly fool, personally speaking. I would not be a good voice for feminism. I want to be 100% honest. I do think overall idea. Why am I always more pessimistic than you are in how I rank things?
I have no idea.
I'm gonna say that I think this is it's not a 10. I do think it's high, but I think it's more of an 8. Because it's a great podcast idea, but is our podcast the best for feminism? And I don't think what
is our podcast the best for feminism? I would argue no. I would argue that a lot of white dude podcasts are not the best for feminism.
I mean, podcasts in general. But what I'm trying to say is more like, I think feminism, social awareness spreads best through one-on-one conversations or just more personal, like intimate things like that. And two people talking into microphones, or two or more people talking into microphones. Just generally. It's a good way to get broad concepts out, like the various literature and stuff. But I think the best way to make people socially aware, or at least get them thinking about stuff, is to do it on a personal level. And you can't really do that with the podcast. I said you can't multiple times there. I'm a stuttery fool.
Okay. Podcast pause
again. Fine. Maybe you'll figure it out.
Stop backseat driving.
You're the one holding a seat.
Podcast reopen. Hi, my name is Trace.
Hi,
I'm a changed man.
Oh, yeah.
You may see a glisten on my brow if you watch on video. I'm tired.
How many people do you think that are going to listen to this podcast are specifically watching on YouTube versus... I mean, okay. Spotify has a video podcast format, apparently. I don't know how that works, but apparently they have that. Yeah,
I still have yet to look into it.
Yeah, me neither. But if you're somehow watching the video for this and not just listening to the audio, I'm curious how many people are doing that. Thankfully, all the audio people don't have ways to comment. Only the video people have ways to comment, which is interesting to me. But anywho, yes, where did we leave off when you had to take care of something? We were talking about the feminism podcast ideas.
Yes,
I don't remember
about feminism. I think you gave your ranking of what a feminist podcast would be.
Yeah. I said 8 out of 10. I gave my explanation for that. You said 10 out of 10. And then we said we both would be like 2 out of 10 if we were to do it.
So I think it is time
to move on to number 7?
Next, yes.
All right, number 7. This one you are going to love just because I know you. This is a podcast about the paranormal. Are you scared?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Are you? If that doesn't work, then perhaps these spooky musings on the paranormal will creep you out. The supernatural often makes for one of the best podcast topics, tapping into people's obsessions with the unknown. Sure, that's everything it says about this. I knew that you would be so on board with this idea.
So I love paranormal in like any I mean, video people. I have a poster from X-Files in this room right now.
I think it's like barely out of shot.
It's one of my favorite shows because I just love the paranormal so much.
Paranormal stuff's cool.
It's just so amazing. Like, there's just so many things you can talk. I mean, I know that they've all been done before. They're old hat. You've heard the stories a bajillion times. You'll listen to them again if you're like me.
True.
So, like, I want to hear other people's takes on old ghost stories, old alien stories. I want to hear what you think about Bigfoot. That shit's so cool.
Yeah.
It is one of the best topics that anyone can make a podcast about. All right.
Yeah, I agree. There are so many just mythical stories. Like, I say mythical, but like not mythological too. I'm talking like modern world ghost stories and just paranormal situations and things. And like, they're cool. They're really cool. And I knew that you would love this idea when I was going through this list and proposed it to you. I'm like, oh, this is right up Trace's alley.
If I could convince you to do a paranormal podcast with me, I would.
Yeah, but you can't. The main reason is just because like I get invested in paranormal stuff. I think it's interesting when I hear about it. Like whenever I'm hanging out with a friend and they put on a YouTube channel or podcast or something that talks about paranormal stuff, I'm like, yeah, this is interesting. And then I have no interest to seek it out personally. Like it's a cool thing to grab my attention when there's nothing else to grab my attention. But like as an actual thing, I'm like, I don't actively seek out this stuff. I don't know. I like more strange things, you know, because whenever I hear about,
I'm sorry. What is more strange than ghosts?
No, hold on. let me elaborate on what I mean by more strange. Because when I say more strange, I'm talking like mythology type stuff. Because let's be honest,
Stranger Things, even.
Why? Why did you say that? Okay, you know what? Yep, you're right. That is
kept
what
saying
more strange means.
things.
Yeah, you're right.
And so I was like, Stranger Things, even.
But yeah, like when I think about fantasy stuff. So whenever I talk about like mythology or other forms of fantasy or even ghost stories, I try to think of what other explanations there are for those stories. Like that's just how my mind works. It's not even like a conscious thing. I just immediately start going to like, what are the other reasons behind how this could happen? And whenever I hear a story about like a ghost haunting a hotel or something like that, like this specific hotel room, someone died in it, and suddenly people hear noises whenever they stay in rooms near it, and no one's ever been able to spend a full night in the room or something like that. I'm like, okay, what are other possible explanations as to why this could be? And I feel like those mysteries, to me at least, are less interesting than trying to come up with explanations as to like why stories about the Minotaur exist. Like trying to conceptualize the origins of the Minotaur seems that's cool to me. I like thinking about that.
I was gonna say, and maybe I'll regret putting this on the internet forever.
Nope, say it. No
I was
regrets.
going to say that
cringe is dead
because half bull men are hot, and everyone thinks that.
Yeah,
and
true.
that is why the Minotaur is popular.
True. I agree. However, who came up with the first one?
Someone who really freaking liked half bull men. Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
What do you think the Egyptians were on? All right. They were on that furry shit.
They were on that furry shit. This is quite
the
true.
best gods out of any pantheon.
Yeah, they have so many furry gods. It's great. I keep apologizing to. You know what? Fair enough. Yeah. Sorry, Zeus. You're not real, but you know what? I'm not gonna offend you.
So I love paranormal stuff so much.
I've noticed
it sucks doing paranormal tourism sometimes, because a lot of times other people have either ruined that spot to where it's like heavily guarded by like some type of security, or it is so expensive. But one of my like favorite places I've ever gone to, and it's not a fun place to go to, other than the fact that I can tell you that I've gone to one of the 7 gates of hell.
Whoa. Okay. That's elaborate. I want to hear the story now.
Well, so funnily enough, one of them exists here in Kansas.
Oh, neat. Okay.
It's like not that far from you either. You could probably drive to it like right now and drive back, and it would just be the afternoon.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to look this up now.
But so it was popularized by I believe a student newspaper. I believe it was a KU student newspaper or something in Lawrence.
Oh yeah, KU's not too far from me.
Yeah, this was a place that people saw the devil come out on October 31st, Halloween. and like just the myth spread that this was a gate of hell that like the devil could come out of and whatnot. And it was this old church that has since been torn down. But the cemetery and the rubble of the church still exists. So I went and visited it with my ex and a friend, and it would have been the most boring thing to go and see. The town isn't anything to write home about.
As most towns in Kansas are, you know.
And like the pile of rubble was substandard, so like otherwise
yes.
it wasn't that great.
In terms of rating piles of rubble, this one is far inferior.
Yeah, this one is inferior to other ones I've seen. I've seen some really good rubble. That one, But it was still fun because it was one of the gates of hell, right?
Yeah, like conceptually, that's really cool. I like that idea.
Sadly, I didn't see any devil. Wish I could have.
Sadly?
Seems like a cool guy.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Sorry, gods. Yeah. So obviously I love paranormal stuff. 10 out of 10 and 10 out of 10 for both of them.
I think
I could make a killer paranormal podcast.
I agree. You could make a killer paranormal wow.
Comcast.
Wow.
Paranormal Comcast. That's the name of the podcast.
Paranormal Comcast. Oh my god. They're just an internet provider for ghosts. You know, they have a tower right there in the gate of hell. That's just how it works. I agree. I think you could make a phenomenal paranormal podcast. Wow, that is a lot harder to say than I thought it would be. Paranormal podcast. Like that's
paranormal podcast.
The fact that paranormal has so many vowel syllables back to back, followed by another P word. Okay, you know what? Sorry. Wait a minute. I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, yeah, it's I think you could do a phenomenal one, and I think there is actually like a possibility of us doing one and it being interesting, because me, as someone who isn't actively seeking out paranormal stuff in my own time, if the podcast format were just like you relaying these stories that you've already heard to me, that could be pretty interesting. I could see that. I don't think I'd watch it, but again, I watch it, listen to it.
Yeah, you're rehashing the believer and skeptic duo.
Yeah,
type in paranormal podcasts.
Precisely. We would just be another one of those. Would we be
right in line? We would
be we would not be unique in any way, shape, or form. But you know what? That archetype has been successful.
It has. It's been very successful, particularly for me. So
particularly for you. That's how
I am
it
the
works.
demographic. I'm the demographic that they're seeking. I've
Fair.
listened to all of them. Okay, no.
Yeah. That checks out. Dang, we might have found our new format, actually. You know what? Automatically, be gone, Rank Masters. What would we call it? What would we call it? The
Paranormal Comcast.
Paranormal.
I think you're forgetting.
You're right. How did I forget that? All right, let me go ahead and whip up the graphics for that real quick.
Yeah. So coming next summer, 2024, Paranormal Comcast. Get ready.
My God. What? I mean, next summer is this year, the 2023. That counts as next summer.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
We don't need a full year and some to make a paranormal Comcast.
Yeah, we just go out, tour the world, set up some cell towers at every single gate of hell, all 7 of them. And yeah, we're fine. We should be good. All right.
I feel like that's been done before.
Has it?
I have something about paranormal radio towers is clicking something for me.
Oh no! Now we got to look this up. Paranormal radio towers. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of like paranormal activity related to radio towers, because like the closer you get to them, you kind of get some weird interference with your actual radios, and that could definitely be picked up.
Welcome to Night Vale. That's what I'm thinking of.
I have not heard of that. What is it?
Shout out to Welcome to Night Vale. No, that's all. That's the name drop. That's it. I'm not going to give you any more context. What's the next podcast idea?
You can't just do that and not give me some like semblance of what it is. We're allowed to talk about other shows on this podcast. How many people do you think are going to click away from this right now? If they've made it this far into the episode, do you think they're going to leave now?
Yeah.
Please don't leave.
I have abandonment issues. Please don't leave.
I have abandonment issues, please. I need you. All right, fine. If you're not going to tell me about that, let's move on to the next issue. The number 6. Holy shit, we've been recording way too long. We're only at number 6 on the list. Number 6 on the top 10 podcast ideas is sports. And I think we're going to save some time here.
Yep.
we don't need to talk about this for very long. 0 out of 10.
No one needs another sports podcast. They suck, all right?
Yeah, I mean, I there's so many of them. Like, even a lot of the TV talk shows are just podcasts. Like, and they're sports podcasts. And they're boring.
You know, actually, I'll give you one caveat. If you bring back cup stacking to its height of when I was in middle school, and then make a podcast about that, 10 out of 10. Thank you very much.
Statcast.
That Statcast.
Statcast.
Oh, we've got it.
We found it. We found the format. Okay, actually, you know what?
Back.
That's the one sport podcast that I could get behind. The Statcast.
Yep, that's it. Statcast.
Yeah.
Too bad cup stacking's never going to come back.
No, it's
That's
not.
not coming back. That was a fleeting moment in time that'll never be captured again.
It was such a unique cultural touchstone, and I there's nothing that could ever come close. Yeah, you really did.
You had to have been there.
No, there's no other way to really understand the magic of cup stacking. Oh well, who cares? That's not our responsibility to return that magic to you. We're not going to talk about sports. I don't give a shit. Next one. And speaking of generic things that the world needs more of, TV shows, books, and film podcasts. You want a podcast that talks about the television that's continually taking the world by storm? You want to do another Stranger Things podcast where we review every episode of Stranger Things while eating real ghosts? No, what the fuck did I just say?
Eating real ghosts.
Yeah. I've never
it's
seen
the new
Stranger
fad
Things,
with
actually.
The billionaires.
Yeah, actually, that
you eat ghosts and it makes you look younger. It's a huge thing. It's like Ozempic, if you've heard about that with the weight loss, but it's ghosts.
It's ghosts, yeah.
No, I mean, I can, this is fun. It's been done.
Yeah.
There's a reason that it's so common is because it is a really good podcast format.
It's a good format for sure. And I think there's significantly more movies and TV shows and books and all that jazz to do podcasts over. Like, the only problem with that is that you're kind of limited by sticking to whatever topic you stick to. Like, if our podcast is about one specific TV show, you can really only do the podcast while the show's in session. You could try to do something during the off season, but oh my god, we're talking about sports again. What the fuck? You could try to do something when they're not airing the show. There we go. But really, it's a lot more boring in that situation. You could try to stick to a genre. You could try to do only mystery movies or something like that, but then you're limited to whenever those movies come out. I feel like you're going to be kind of stuck to something, and it kind of gets boring if you only talk about that one thing, you know?
If you do not do it correctly, you can fall into a lot of pit traps.
Yeah.
I will agree with you. But also, there's some really good just TV and movie podcasts. Like, when you don't have friends... Oh, sorry.
No, go on. As a friend of yours, what are you about to say? Friend?
When you don't have friends.
Yes.
It can be really fun to finish watching an episode of your favorite show, and then a couple days later, two random people or more talk about that show with you.
Okay. Yeah, parasocially, yeah.
Yeah. You gotta set up those parasocial relationships, make them really think you're their best friend.
Yeah, true. Just like you and I.
And
everyone watching and listening. If you're listening to this, yeah, you're our best friend.
How's your mom?
Wait a minute.
It's been a while.
Okay, let's not take that too far. we could get in some hot water. Yeah.
I'm just asking him how their mom is.
Well, you could have asked last night. Anywho, yeah, it's a good format. It can definitely be comforting to have just other people talk about things that you're passionate about. A lot of the YouTube channels that I follow, for instance, they're not podcasts for real, but they are discussion channels that they talk about games and movies and TV shows that I enjoy. So I understand the reasons why that format is so successful, because it's a good and comforting format.
Yeah,
it could easily fall into pitfalls for sure, you know.
I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. 5 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm let's talk about all these pitfalls that could fall. Yeah. Best possible score.
Best podcast idea.
Yeah.
No, 5 out of 10 because it's right there in the middle. If you do it good, it can be one of the best. If you do it bad, just look for you can find this really handy list on blog.podcast.co. It gives you more ideas.
They have at least 9 other ideas for things you could do a podcast over.
Yeah, if this one falls through for you, like we've got a source. Just hit us up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to be a little more optimistic than you. I'm going to say 6.5 out of 10.
We're doing point stuff now.
Fine, 7 out of 10. We'll round up.
Okay.
I realized I was the one that came into it immediately talking about like the faults of getting stuck into a genre, but you're right. You convinced me that the comforts of it are it's nice. It is really nice hearing other people talk about things you're passionate about.
Yeah,
how often
makes you feel nice.
How often do you get to talk about the things that you care about with other people? You know, like
not enough because I don't have friends, as we've discussed.
As discussed, yeah, clearly we've had this conversation.
Who has friends?
All my friends are obsessed with paranormal stuff, so I can never talk about fucking Spelunky with them.
Paranorman, the kids show from like 2012.
I completely forgot about that movie. Have you seen it? Have you seen Paranorman?
Yes, it haunts my dreams for some reason.
What?
Like,
I think it's a good movie. I like that movie.
I think it's a good movie. I have not seen it in years.
Oh, okay.
But for some reason,
you just said you saw it. It haunts your dreams. I've never seen it.
I said I haven't seen it in years.
Well, I didn't get to that part yet. I'm not fast forwarding through this podcast.
But it haunts my dreams specifically just because that I don't know. Just for some reason, I constantly think of Paranorman. He's like my little conscience. He's always there.
He's your sleep paralysis demon.
He's my sleep paralysis demon. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, the art style is a little funky for sure. It's very non-traditional when it comes down to animation. I think
it's very cute anime. Like I love that style. No idea why my brain drifts to Paranorman so often.
Fair enough.
It's almost like the penguins from Surf's Up.
Speaking of another good movie. Oh my god. Maybe we should do a movie podcast, except we don't stick to a genre. We just talk about completely random movies that come to mind during the podcast. Like we could set up, let's say this podcast episode, we're setting up to talk about Surf's Up, and then we get distracted 2 minutes in and suddenly spend the rest of the movie talking about Monster House.
Yeah.
You said Paranorman. I'm like another.
You're sticking into the genre.
We're sneaking into it, and we need to get out so we can talk about the rest of the list. So before we move on, shall we move on?
Let's move on.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
We've given our 2 cents. This is good.
I don't have 2 cents. I have 1 cent. I have 1 penny. I'm broke. Please send me money.
I'm gonna shame you for being poor.
Hey, Dairy Queen, we're still looking for that sponsorship, babe.
Babe.
Yeah.
I know you were so close to Miss Queen herself.
She's my queen.
Oh my god.
She's my sugar mama.
No, I knew it was coming. I don't.
Next
on the list.
Next on the list. Fine. Number 4 of the top 10 podcast ideas: audio dramas. Which, okay, fine. I'll read the blurb real quick. We know getting lost in fiction is all too easy, which makes audio dramas one of the best podcast topics to target. The last few years have seen an explosion of amazing audio dramas. And because listeners can tune in from wherever and whenever, i.e. in the car, on commute, walking the dog, etc., they're a great way of spicing up those mundane everyday tasks.
Welcome to Night Vale.
What?
Welcome to Night Vale.
So we are going back to that, are we?
No?
That's
it.
Oh, is it an audio drama? I thought that was a paranormal podcast. Is it an audio drama instead?
You can do both.
That's okay. True. You're right. My interpretation of paranormal is just like talking about paranormal things, whereas audio dramas is like actual, just straight up fiction. You know.
See, the problem with audio dramas is you have to be good at acting, and I'm not. So like. I'm already not gonna be good at it.
Fair.
So I think if we were gonna do an audio drama, I could produce it, and we would have to get other people.
We could produce it pretty well.
I'm not an actor.
Yeah.
Just two producers sitting in the corner with no actors. Welcome to our audio drama.
Welcome to our audio drama. It's not even acting, it's just script reading. Oh god.
I've done sound design for audio dramas. Like when I was in college, we had a couple audio dramas go out on our radio station.
That doesn't surprise me.
And I did the sound engineering for it, but like
this
I wasn't going to act in those
audio
puppies.
Engineer.
If you couldn't tell by my horrible audio quality right now.
If your audio quality is bad, blame it on me because you're not editing the audio for this. I'm the editor for this show. But no, it's I think audio dramas are a ton of fun, but this is one of those things that you need heavy production like behind. You need a lot of money. You need a lot of people. I'm
not gonna say like no. I'm gonna challenge you on that. You really don't. You're gonna need a lot of people unless you're a voice actor, which is a whole other subset of things.
That's true. I thought about voice acting for a little bit. I think it would be fun, but I do not. I don't have the ins. I don't have the networking required for that.
But yeah, it's actually pretty simple to put on an audio drama. If you write it yourself, it may not be good.
It's true.
You can make one pretty easy.
I think. I think my standards for audio dramas. I've listened to some really, really high-end audio dramas. I've listened to like the Doctor Who audio episodes. I've listened to the Batman audio dramas. And those like even the shitty ones from like way back in the day, they had a lot more money than I would be willing to invest in a podcast. And That's fair. Ones that are going on like now, the sheer amount of just like it takes a lot. It takes so much. And I don't think there's any way that we would be able to do that, even if we did have acting chops.
We couldn't.
Yeah, no way in the world.
No way. We're
0 out of 10 idea for us.
No, 0. Like we would suck at that. Well, I would suck at that. I don't know about you, but yeah, no. That's a no. Next topic.
You have to say that while I'm drinking.
Yeah. Because I'm a bad actor, okay?
I can't scroll the mouse while I'm drinking water, obviously. Okay, next topic is news and current affairs. It says social media has been completely altered by how we find our news. And as a podcast topic, there's no easier way to give listeners the informative content they're looking for. News podcasts are continually benefiting audiences with daily updates, political opinions, current affairs, and expert opinions. They said political opinions and expert opinions, but they tried to separate it by current affairs. That's just poor sentence structure. I'm sorry, I got distracted easily. That's just bad writing there. But yeah, okay. News podcast idea. What do you think about that?
News sucks.
Yeah.
Whoever works in the news is a bad person. I don't know how to tell you this, reporters, but you're not good.
Okay, someone's gonna take that seriously. But let's be clear here.
I'm a journalist.
Yeah, hi journalists.
Hi journalists. I'm one of you.
Yeah.
I listen to more news. I'm gonna say I listen to more news podcasts than what is healthy for any one person.
You kind of have to for your job, though.
But I have to. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm actually hoping to maybe like start up another podcast that's actually with my job that would be about news.
Okay.
So I can't crap on this topic too much, but this is my 2 cents. If you are going to start a news or political podcast, make it local. I know you're shrinking your size, but you are going to cut your competition down substantially as well. Because I'm going to guarantee you right now, there is not a local podcast that's going to be covering it. So you can cover it. Yeah. All right. Like it's easy. I don't want to say it's easy money. Do not take my financial advice. In the words of Logan Paul.
I would never say a single word that Logan Paul has said. That's a bad idea.
In the words of Logan Paul, I will not be your scapegoat for bad financial decisions.
My God. Why is that the quote you... Okay. Okay. You know what? Fair.
So, but right now, local news is suffering. So if you're going to start a news podcast, make it local.
Yeah.
Trust me, there's going to be dozens of people who are going to love you for helping bring like local news stories about different city council meetings, your school board, what's going on with other like county government issues. It's stay out of the national sphere because it's already well saturated. Get yourself something local.
Yeah.
Get a piece of that local.
I don't know what else I can really contribute there because you said everything I was going to say.
It got serious for a moment, all right? Because I am very passionate about it.
You are familiar with the field, and I think it needing to be serious is definitely important.
Also, or you could do a gossip news.
Oh my god!
Podcast.
We're back. We're back. Rankmasters are back. Hello.
Well, I mean, what would you rank it? I mean, if you keep it local, and I mean, if you keep it local, it's also gonna be a lot easier to get interviews.
That's true.
You would be surprised how desperate like city council members are to get like their word out there.
If you give literally anyone a platform, they will say yes. People love having a platform if they think they'll be listened to on it.
Absolutely. So
yeah,
I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Good idea.
8
to keep it local.
That high? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a great idea for anyone to get involved with their local news.
That's true. Yeah, I agree.
Especially right now. 8 out of 10. Do it, please.
Yeah.
I'll give you a shout out, please.
I agree with the local stuff being high. I think 8 out of 10 is a good place for local news. However, I will note that the list here, the website, the ranked ideas list, their example is of the BBC News Global News podcast. And if you're trying to go for a national or global news podcast to that scale, die. No, it's a bad idea.
Actually, I'll give you this. If you focus on trans issues,
true. Okay, yeah.
World trans issues specifically, just to spite BBC.
Just to spite BBC.
Yes. I'll give you a 10 out of 10.
Actually, yeah, true. We need more trans positive news podcasts. We need more trans positive news
podcast.
And we need more trans positive news in the world.
We'll call it the TBC, Trans Broadcasting Corporation.
I like that.
Go.
TBC. That's a good name right there. All right, moving on. Shall we talk about number 2? Oh God, I forgot that they included this example, so we're not going
number 2.
We're not going to discuss the example they leave here. But number 2 of the top 10 ideas, we're coming up on number 1. Number 2 is chat shows.
Chat shows. Those fucking suck.
Yeah.
Who just wants to listen to a couple of bitches talk for an hour?
Yeah, no one wants to listen to that. That's such a bad idea for a podcast. Like, come on.
Can I guess what their example is?
Go for it.
You can bleep it if you want. Is it Joe Rogan?
Yeah, that's the idea. I'm not gonna bleep it because the more mystery we leave there, the more people are gonna look up this thing and look at it. But like, fuck that show, dude. Fuck that person.
Talking about the Trans Broadcasting Corporation, if you wanted to like.
Yeah, okay. Getting off of that topic at least. I do think chat shows. Obviously, I love chat shows. This is a chat show, technically speaking. Yeah. Is this a chat show?
It's a chat show with a gimmick.
It's a chat show with a gimmick. My favorite podcast of all time. I've talked about this with you. It's 2 YouTubers sitting down, having a conversation, and letting their ADHD take the conversation wherever it goes. And it's such a funny chat show because their titles, more often than not, there's like a 50-50 chance as to whether or not they stay on topic, this one specific topic, the entire episode, or if it derails within like 2 minutes. Sometimes it derails in the intro, like before they even roll the intro music, like they're on. They say something. It's like, hold on, I have another thought before we get to the topic, and they just never talk about the actual topic. And I think that's so funny.
In the words of Logan Paul.
No. Bad traits. Stop it.
I'm sorry.
Stop it.
I have been watching the Logan Paul dramas.
Yeah.
Multiple plural going on. So it's in my head. I was actually just gonna say CoffeeZilla is not a crony.
Yeah, same. Yeah, the whole CoffeeZilla show. Oh god, that's been a good synopsis of what's been going on.
But yeah, Impulsive is a chat podcast.
That is, yeah, you're right.
There's a lot of bad people.
There's a lot of bad people who do chat. podcasts. Again, if you give people a platform, they will be excited to use it. That does include bad people.
Yep.
It includes people who you probably don't want to be platformed, but you know what? So be it. What are you going to do?
And I'll say this is the easiest platform to just jump into.
True.
Because you're just talking with some pals. Maybe not friends, because as we've established, we don't have friends.
We have no friends, yeah. That's just how it works. Fuck you.
But you're just you're just talking with someone. And, you know, it can have a lot of cool gimmicks attached to it, whatever you want, you know?
Yeah.
Just have a chatty podcast. I think this is the easiest one to do. And you don't
absolutely
have, and
is.
there is not a high ceiling to jump through. Is that how that phrase works?
I don't think so, but I think it's close enough that people are going to get what you're saying anyway. It's the barrier of entry. There we go. Yeah. It's not that high. You know?
It's not that high. So I'm going to just go ahead and give it a 10 out of 10.
I agree. 10 out of 10. I'm not biased at all in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, there's absolutely no bias here. I just think it's the best.
I think chat podcasts are the best. And if you disagree, why are you watching us? You made it this far into an episode. What are you doing?
I love you.
I love you.
How's your mom?
I love your mom too.
I love her. She's great.
She's great. All right, and for the last topic, speaking of shows with wow, words are hard today. Why did we choose to do a podcast? I can't talk. Talking's hard.
Tonguing is hard.
Talking is hard. It's so hard.
I thought you said tonguing is hard.
Yeah, that's also pretty hard. You know, it gets difficult sometimes. My tongue gets exhausted.
Stop. I don't think we need to be talking about tonguing on this tongue.
I think we do. Let's have a fucking Cunnilingus podcast. Why not? That's yeah.
Sorry, I'm more of an analingus guy myself.
I know. We were just talking about moms.
We're talking about number one.
I don't know what to tell you. Last topic. Hand in hand. Yeah. Last topic. Speaking of tonguing your mom, true crime podcasts. That's number one. That's number one on this list. Why are you? What?
Tonguing your mom.
Yeah.
True crime podcasts.
Yes, precisely.
I actually just watched a YouTube video recently about the moral pitfalls of true crime podcasts.
Oh, care to elaborate? I'm curious what the moral pitfalls are.
I mean, a lot of people seem to approach them as like really easy, flippant stories just to tell without, you know, actually addressing how these are real world things that happen to people. And oftentimes the people that you're talking about still exist. Like they are still alive.
There's a chance that they are listening to your podcast.
And you're just making it worse.
Yeah. What was that? The Jeffrey Dahmer Netflix show? And how horribly that impacted the families of the people he affected. Like, holy shit.
Yeah. And also, I mean, Netflix has been bad in this space because they've been even going behind families' backs after the family has specifically asked, we do not want this to happen. Mm-hmm. And then Netflix goes, just too bad. We're going to make it anyway.
Yep.
And that sucks. But on the other side of that coin, there is some really interesting stuff out there.
There really is.
But I like it when it is old.
Yeah.
And not affecting people today.
If we want to talk about crimes from 18th century, I'm down for that. That sounds funny especially because back then there was before they knew what DNA was. So crimes were just a lot easier to get away with.
And a lot crazier too.
True.
You don't see a lot of people robbing gold mines anymore. What happened?
Honestly, yeah, we should go back to the days where you could just walk into a gold mine with a bandana, shoot your name into the wall with bullets, and even then they won't get you. You know?
I'm gonna say that this is a problem caused by the decline of masculinity in today's youth.
Okay, so you pivoted from the feminism podcast. This is now the anti-feminism podcast. Oh God, I did not sign up for this.
I think.
Be careful.
I think that the youth nowadays are not masculine enough, and they're not robbing enough gold mines.
We
That's
do
the
need
sign
to be,
of the times.
This is true. This is 100% true. I completely agree. We need to rob more gold mines. If you listener are with us, let's stand together. Let's go find a gold mine. We can organize it. We can go rob a gold mine together, just as a podcast community. Let's do it.
A podcasting community gold heist. And police, if you're listening to this, no, you didn't.
This is a joke. For everyone else, no, it's not a joke. We'll meet Wednesday. What Wednesday? I don't know.
Wednesday, probably around like 2 p.m.
No, that's too early. I'm gonna be sleeping at 2 p.m. on Wednesday.
5 p.m.
I've got work at 5 p.m.
Seth won't be there. So it'll be me and all y'all. We're just going to go and rob that gold mine. It'll be great.
It will be great.
And we'll retake traditional masculinity.
Yeah.
Remember, because that's where all of this started.
That's where all this started. Yeah, sure. We need to be robbing more gold mines.
And then we'll make a true crime podcast about it, and it will be great.
How are we going to do a podcast about single crime? Can you do a podcast about one crime?
Yeah. It would be limited.
It would be limited.
Like, one of my favorite true crime podcasts is actually called Watch Bambi Run. I think is it Run Bambi Run?
Okay. I wasn't aware that Bambi was a crime. That was a pretty good Disney movie. I didn't know there was criminal.
His mother was shot.
True. You're right.
But no, that's not what it's about. It's about a woman who was falsely convicted. It's been a while since I've listened to it. I believe she was falsely convicted and then she escaped jail. And then she lived as a free woman for the rest of her life.
Oh, that's hype, actually.
It was a really good podcast, and like they actually went and talked to people who were close to her, like they all consented to be a part of it. And
hell yeah.
I was like, I mean, maybe there's something wrong that I don't know about that podcast, but for me, it seemed to be like a very good example of how to do true crime correctly.
That makes sense to me.
So yeah, we could do that style of podcast with it. Would be great
with our own gold robbery.
Masculine gold robbery.
Masculine. There's a difference between regular gold robbery.
Yeah.
I think my word limit has been reached for the day. I'm like one of those applications. I have a free trial of Seth every day, and he runs out of words.
Free trial. So at the end of it, do you think we should change our podcast?
Do I think we should change our podcast? Okay, well let's go back through the list in order. So number 10 was the food podcast.
Food.
Honestly, the more I thought about, I'm hungry now. I need to get food after this podcast. I'm gonna go grab an apple. Dang it! Why did I think about the food podcast again? My stomach literally just grumbled. I don't know if my mic picked it up. So we have food podcasts, questions and myth busting. Absolutely not. Feminism, good idea for podcast. Not for us. I don't think we could do that. The paranormal, we could fall into the same archetype that literally everyone has. But again, you convinced me that we could do it well. Especially because your wealth of knowledge on paranormal stuff.
Just wait until we have a podcast that is just ranking the top 10 mythological creatures. So.
That is on our list. We have a list of we have a list of top 10 lists out there. So you know what? Should we spoil the list? No, we're not going to spoil the list. We'll talk about it more in the future. But yeah, sports are number 6. Bad idea. TV shows, books, movies, and stuff. Audio dramas, news, chat shows, and of course, true crime. I think we should pivot. I agree.
I think we should pivot.
Let's be a food channel now.
Food. I think we've decided food.
Yeah. Let's go remake that Juicy episode.
we're about to go, but that was mystery. Okay.
That was the mystery. That was the mystery show, but we could do it better. We could title Juicy a mystery episode. We don't even talk. It's a food podcast, but that's the one episode where we don't talk about food.
Just mysteries.
Just mysteries. Yeah. We eat mysteries for dinner. Yeah, I could do that.
Well, I think that this is a good time to retake traditional masculinity.
Oh my god. Why are you still on this bit? This is a bad bit.
Shh. Rebrand as a food podcast.
Yeah.
Say hello to your mother.
True.
And just have a good evening.
Yeah, I agree. Or
I have
whatever
been
time
Trace.
You have been Trace? What are you now?
I've been Trace.
Are you no longer Trace?
I'm
gonna trace over you. How many people have made that joke in your life? I'm curious. Too many. I figured that was the case. That's Trace. I'm Seth. I will still be Seth next time. That won't change. But thank you all for listening, and I'll hear you next time. Or you'll what? I'll hear you next time? No, you'll hear us next time. We'll see you next time. How about that? Bye.
It's a podcast.
It's a podcast.